What is up, you sexy beasts? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I wanted to start this video by running you through my current morning routine. So I'm trying to get up at 5 a.m. and get some zone 2 cardio done. So I do about 30 to 60 minutes, depending on what else I have on that morning, but at least 30 minutes. And I just find there's such value in having a massive base cardio fitness. It just carries you so far in every other area of fitness. So I try and get this done most mornings, followed by an ice bath. Now, if you've been following the channel, you knew that I had an iCool ice bath, like a professional, proper ice bath setup. And I just found that it was so noisy, the fan, to get that thing cool, that I decided to sell it and just get a good old 500 litre chest freezer. And it has been a game changer. It is quiet, it is easy to run, and I just have this little temperature gauge that I bought off Amazon for like 25 bucks that keeps it at the right temperature, currently sitting at 6 degrees. And I jump in here for 3 minutes every morning, so 5 days a week. So I accumulate about 15 minutes a week of cold exposure. I get out of the ice bath around 6 a.m. and make my first coffee for the morning. I then make my way to the lounge and just have half an hour of quiet time where I read my Bible, have some prayer time, and I just find this sets up my day beautifully. So whether you believe in God or have any kind of spiritual practices, I think regardless of that, it is a good habit to get into, to just be still, to meditate, to read, to think, to pray. And so I do that from 6 till 6:30, and by that time, the boys are hassling me for their breakfast. So I go outside, feed the dogs, and then one of my favorite parts of the morning, something I've been doing for 6 to 12 months now, is I cook up a steak on the barbecue for breakfast. I did a month of carnivore recently and absolutely loved the results. So I've stuck with the habit of doing steak for breakfast, high protein, you know, it just kind of sets me up and I just feel like I don't need any food until after lunch, really, like 2, 3 p.m. I start to get hungry again after having my steak and my coffee in the morning. So I get the steak going and have some playtime with the boys, which is always a juggling act because Chip just wants to be scratched and rubbed and Georgie just wants to play. So I kind of like give them one arm each and try and keep them both happy, which never happens. Once my steak is cooked, I head back inside, make my second coffee for the morning. I sit down, open up YouTube, watch one YouTube video of my choice while I enjoy my steak and my coffee. So when I'm home and not traveling, that is pretty much the routine that I try to stick with every morning, and I just love it. I love doing the same thing every morning. I think there's real value in that kind of just habit and discipline. So as far as training goes, guys, the last day in Bali, I fell off my scooter. I came around this corner and as I come around the corner, there was a car right there in front of me in my lane. I think he must have been overtaking another scooter and just, yeah, he was in my lane and I had to swerve out of the way, caught some gravel and ended up falling down, hurting both my hands and bruising my heels. Luckily, no fractures, no breaks, just intense soft tissue damage on both the hands and my left heel. So I haven't been able to do any weightlifting at all. I haven't been able to hold a barbell or a dumbbell. So I've pretty much just been doing cardio and some core work, some V-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to being able to hold the barbell again. I'm getting there. I feel like I'm maybe another week or two away. So that's kind of the update on the training. It's pretty much been just cardio, ice baths, which has been quite nice, to be honest. Got a new cat, as you would have seen in that last clip, eating my steak, a new little kitten. My daughter named him Tiger, little boy. He's a purebred ragdoll. What else can I tell you? I'm going back to the CrossFit Games. 3rd year in a row, I'm gonna be working for HWPO. I'm super excited. I'm gonna head over early and go and check out HWPO headquarters in Vermont for a few days prior to going to the games. And I'm really excited this year because we've got some Aussies that are gonna be competing under the HWPO banner. We have Jake Douglas and also Rogan Dean. So both those boys will be in Vermont training prior to the games. So it's gonna be cool to see them there. And then to head to the games, you know, last year for HWPO was pretty much Mel and Jason were the 2 athletes. This year there are so many more athletes on the roster competing at the games. So it's gonna be cool to follow their journeys, document their journeys, and just hang out with Matt and Sammy and the awesome crew at HWPO again. So I've got to catch a flight now to Adelaide. So I'll continue this video in my hotel room this afternoon. See you soon. I made it to my hotel room and I wanted to chat about the top 5 storylines that I am interested in at the CrossFit Games this year. These are the possibilities, the things that could happen, that could go down at the Games this year. And down in the comments, I would love to know what are the things that you are wondering about, the storylines that you're following, and perhaps the outcomes that you are hoping for. So, in 5th place, let's start with the teams. This year, we don't have Rich Froning's Mayhem. We do have a Mayhem team, but the team competition is a little bit open this year. And last year, we had a team from Europe come in 2nd place. That is Oslo Navy Blue. Now, I believe this year, the semis actually came 2nd. They lost to a team called No Shortcuts CrossFit. Bet them this year. So that's definitely a team, you know, that could podium. That is the Oslo Blue team. Obviously semi-finals, very different to the Games. And 3rd place, and a very consistent team over the years, is CrossFit Invictus. But then we've got 2 new teams this year. We've got the team from Proven, CrossFit East Nashville Proven, and also CrossFitorian Mayhem, Royce Dunn's team. And I think those 2 teams are probably the favorites to take it out this year. So it's going to be interesting to see if a Mayhem team can stay on top, whether Royce can take over the torch from Rich and lead another Mayhem team to the podium, to the top of the podium, or will the girls from Mayhem that are now with Proven, will that team take it out? The team competition is definitely more interesting for me this year without Rich and his team there. Okay, the second thing that is of interest to me is the strength event at the CrossFit Games. Every year is a bit of a spectacle, and on the men's side, Guy Malheiros is undoubtedly the strongest man in CrossFit when it comes to the Olympic lifts, maybe even some odd object stuff as well, but he did not make it this year. So for the strength event, I am very, very curious to see who's going to make a statement. We've got 3 men that come to mind. First, my good buddy, Jake Douglas here from Australia. He snatched 310 pounds, I believe. Very, very strong boy. The Trap Daddy, as he's now known. Then we have the youngster Jack Farlow out of Canada, who's a very strong dude as well, and also Bronislaw from the European region. So I think those 3 boys for me have the opportunity to really make a name for themselves, make a statement when it comes to the strength event that we will see at the CrossFit Games this year. In 3rd place, the Icelandic Queens. We have 2 previous CrossFit Games champions making a return to individual competition. We have Katrin Davis-daughter, who could not qualify last year, qualified in 2nd place at her semi-final this year, which is amazing, a massive improvement. And then we have Annie coming back individual as well. Now, it's really important to remember that Annie came 3rd individual in 2021. Then at Rogue, that same year at Rogue, she came 2nd, and she was actually leading the field, leading Tia the whole weekend, and just lost the lead on the last day. And then obviously last year she went team. So in 2021, she was looking incredible as an individual, and she's back. She came 2nd at her semis this year. Bet Laura Horvath just missed out to Gabby Magawa. But nevertheless, we got 2 Icelandic queens back in the mix, and it's going to be interesting to see what that experience, the maturity, what that does for both of them, and how that stacks up to a younger field. So the big question for me is, can Annie do it again? Can Annie stand on top of the podium and be the CrossFit Games champion as a mum coming off a team? Can she do it? Can she beat Laura and Gabby and stand on top of the podium? That is a massive point of interest for me, as well as how will Katrin do this year. In 2nd place, the Canadian Kings. We've got Pat Vellner and Brent Fikowski, just always nipping at the heels of Justin Medeiros, but never, and Matt Fraser. They're a whole generation before Justin Medeiros, really. Both with multiple podium finishes, but neither able to stand on top and be the fittest man on earth. Could this be it? Could this year be the year that we see Pat Vellner or Brent Fikowski? I'm probably leaning more towards Patty V, stand on top of the podium. By saying that, have you seen the recent photo of Brent Fikowski? I'll put it up right here. Look at the state of that back and shoulders and just everything. I think the boys are in the best shape of their lives, the dads, and surely this year has to be the year that one of them does it, surely. And that's the big question for me, is can one of the Canadian boys become the fittest man on earth? And then number 1 has to be, can Justin Medeiros three-peat? Winning it once is amazing. Winning it twice, you're like, whoa, this guy's the real deal. Winning it 3 times in a row puts you in a league of, you know, the Rich Fronings, the Matt Frasers, just a next level up, you know. There are not many people in the game who have won it 3 times in a row. I think, is it only Matt, Tia, and Rich? It might only be those 3. Annie's won it twice in a row, I think. Or Catherine's won it twice, I don't know. But I don't feel like there are many that have won it 3 times in a row. So the number one question is, can Justin go a 3rd in a row? So those are my 5 most anticipated storylines for this year's games. I would love to know what you are thinking about leading up to the games. What are some of the things that you are wondering about and hoping would happen? My tribe, that is it. Another video done. Hope you're doing well. Let me know down in the comments how you're doing and what you're thinking about. Stay sexy, keep roaring love, subscribe, like, subscribe. If you're new here, welcome. Okay, much love. Mwah.